Welcome back to the I Am Passionate podcast. It's your host, Jaren Smith, and I hope you all are doing well. So, for today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my favorite things in the Avengers Doomsday trailer. So, if you have not seen the trailer, or if you're somebody who you don't watch the trailer, maybe you'll just go see it in theaters, this is your time now to, click away from this, episode and, come back to it at a later point. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to list, my 10 favorite things, and I think I'll at least try to give maybe one prediction. Maybe I'll give a couple, but it's more so like I, at the moment, just kind of listed my 10 favorite things. I didn't really think about any predictions, but I think, I'm going to, try to give one because I wouldn't be me without giving a prediction. But if you're somebody who, does not watch like movie trailers for whatever reason you may have, or you have not seen the trailer yet, this is your time now to click away and come back to, this podcast episode at a later point. I will count to 5 and then I will, kind of get going, even though the first thing I have to say structured wise is not a spoiler. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so for my first thing I want to say is on the official Marvel YouTube channel, the trailer already has 44 million views. That is just insane. 44 million. But in the trailer, one of the first things I'm very, very happy about is I'm really happy to be seeing the original X-Men in the MCU. I'm happy to be seeing them in a movie with, Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, so on and so forth. I'm really, really happy, and I feel like it's been a long time coming. Specifically, like, who I'm most happy to see, in regards to, like, the original X-Men. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, they didn't really have as big of a role in the trailer as the original Mystique did. Because seeing her back in action, that is just cool. Also I just want to say that I have nothing against the younger X-Men cast. It's just the original X-Men. That's my childhood. That is my childhood. So like I was really, really happy to see. I believe her name is Rebecca Romijn, which I'll kind of fact check that as I go on. But yeah, no, there's another thing, which this is more so my prediction. And also, yes, her name is Rebecca Romijn. I might be saying the last name wrong. But my prediction is in the beginning of the trailer, Professor X is looking outside of a window. And in that window, it looks like he's looking up at the moon. But like there's like a light coming from it. I believe that is basically he's looking at the energy of the Phoenix, aka Jean Grey. So I remember seeing something online where the original actor for Jean Grey, Famke Janssen. Sorry, I'm like butchering names because like I'm literally for some of these names I'm like literally like doing a lot of thinking. She was talking about like how she's not in the movie, and I think she was praising the younger version of her in AKA the younger Jean Grey, Sophia Turner, who I believe is in Game of Thrones, and saying how she was like a great actor and everything. But it seemed like, people, I was seeing videos online of, the original Jean Grey kind of upset that she was not in the movie. But, I kind of believe that was smoke and mirrors. I believe that she is going to be in this movie, especially if the Wolverine is going to be in this movie. And also Scott Summers, the original Cyclops, he is in this movie. So like, I think it's too good of an opportunity to pass up for Jean Grey to not be in this movie. So that's my first prediction. She will be in this movie in some shape or form. Whether it's, she might not be in the movie for very long, or maybe through like flashbacks, like how in the Wolverine movie, like how she, that movie that came out in 2013 where Wolverine goes to Japan, which she, spoiler, I'll give you, 3, 2, 1. She was not alive in that movie, but she was haunting Wolverine. So we might see her in that similar fashion again. I don't know because, Cyclops, he was going crazy in that trailer. He was going crazy. So like he might be, I would not be surprised if maybe she's not in the movie the way I'm expecting her to be. Second, again, this goes back to Mystique. I'm really, really happy seeing her transform into the Black, like specifically in the trailer, she transformed into the Black Widow's sister. which I thought it was just really really cool because like I feel like one thing that like some of the later X-Men movies started doing is like stressing the importance of Mystique's character. Like she like literally the whole like Days of Future Past movie. She's the centerpiece of that movie. Um which I just was really happy to see that cuz like I just know a lot of people in my life who I've asked them was like, "Hey, which X-Men character whose like mutant ability would you want to have?" Like my sister, for example, she always would tend to say Mystique. But like I know a couple other people who would say Mystique also. Third, again, click away now if you're not, because like I'm spoiling the crap out of people because like these are just my genuine thoughts about the trailer. Like literally, I watched it 3 times, like back to back to back, just to try to get as many thoughts as I could. The first time, I was taking as many notes as I could. Second time, I just watched it. Third time, kind of taking notes, pausing when I thought I caught something. But seeing Captain America, Chris Evans in the trailer, I thought that was just awesome. I think you know, not showing his face but having his voice in the trailer when Thor was like, um, he's like, no way, this can't be real. And it was. And also having Thor as the narrator for like most of the trailer, I thought was really cool. I think in the beginning, the voice, which I can't quite make it out or tell, I think it's the voice that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be using as Doctor Doom. Um, I remember playing Ultimate Alliance as a kid with my brother, and I want to say Doctor Doom is from I think the Marvel country Latvia. I'm gonna be saying that wrong, but regardless, he's from let's just say a country that not many people would know, whether it's in the Marvel like universe in the MCU or like if it's based off of a real place or if even if it is a real place. Um, so moving forward, I need to catch up. That's like another thing that like I'm just happy to think about. There were a few movies that came out last year that I have not seen. Like I have not seen the Captain America movie where what do you call it? Anthony Mackie, he's the main character. And I need to watch the Fantastic Four, and I also need to see Loki. I needed to see Loki years ago when the Deadpool and Wolverine movie came out. But I have not quite seen it, and I figured, hey, I've got about what 4 months into this movie because we're approaching the end of July. I got about 4 months to go and catch up on everything that I have not seen, so that I can potentially enjoy this movie to the fullest. So for my number five thing is that I love how the Wolverine Hugh Jackman is not in the trailer. I do think it would have been even better to have some sort of moment with of him in the trailer, just because I'm heavily biased when it comes to the Wolverine. But I think it just kind of gives fans something to look forward to. Like, we saw the Wolverine, in, Deadpool and Wolverine, but we haven't seen, a lot of the other X-Men in the X-Men, in their X-Men roles in a long time. Like, thinking about it, the last time we would have seen almost all of these characters, like the last time we would have seen Professor X was at the end of Days of Future Past. The last time we would have seen the original Magneto would have been like just like during that movie. The last time we would have seen the original Mystique would have been X-Men Last Stand. Yeah, that would have been the last time we've seen the original Mystique in a movie. Because like after that, Jennifer Lawrence, kind of took the role, made it. Actually, no. I just remembered something. There was in X-Men First Class, the first younger generation movie with the moment between Magneto and Mystique in that movie. Mystique, there was like a moment where Mystique transforms into the original, like into the actor Rebecca Ramjan. So like that would have been the last time, even though that was just for like a moment. I'm kind of happy. I'm telling you, I'm reaching into my bag for some of these thoughts here. But so far, let me know some of your thoughts down below. This is not meant to be a long episode because the trailer is literally 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. Next, I'm really excited to see Gambit in Shang-Chi. Is it Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi? Let me know that down below. I think it's Shang-Chi, but that's what I'm going to roll with for now. I feel like, ever since like Endgame, I feel like Shang-Chi, like that movie, I really like that movie. I feel like, with people I know, that movie kind of had mixed reviews. By that, I mean, some people I know liked the movie, some people did not like the movie. I enjoyed it. And so, I feel like they haven't done as much with that movie as I was expecting them to. Especially with, I believe, the post-credit scene in that movie when they were talking about, Shang-Chi's father's, like, his rings and everything. Like, I thought they would have explored that a little bit more by now, but they have not just yet. I feel like he was in another post-credit scene, but I just think I'm just not remembering the specific movie. And I can't. That's the first time this this episode, I cannot reach into my bag for that. But with Gambit, when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, there were some interviews with Channing Tatum basically saying that, he really, really appreciated, the opportunity to play Gambit. Like, he's been wanting to do it for a while. There have been standalone Gambit movies, and, it just hadn't got made. And then, Deadpool and Wolverine came out, and he finally got his chance to play Gambit. I think he did a great job. And, he had some of the funnier lines in this movie. But here's my question. The Deadpool and Wolverine movie was rated R. Gambit had some very explicit lines that I'm not going to, say, on this podcast right now. But this makes me wonder, is this movie going to be like, like PG-13, rated M for mature? Is it going to be rated R? I have no idea. But regardless, I'm expecting some comedic relief moments in this movie, even though this trailer was pretty serious. I just feel like it would not be a Marvel movie if there was not comedic relief to some extent. Because, some people, their biggest problem with Marvel movies, in the past was just too much comedic relief. So, like, I feel like every character, for the most part, they're going to have at least one, like, comedic moment. It would not be Marvel without it. Like, whether you like the comedic relief moments or you don't, there's going to be at least one for I imagine almost every character, or at least the more popular characters, like, Thor, Captain America, Doctor Doom, the X-Men. I think all those characters are going to have at least one. Um, I just think that's just how it goes, personally. And then my next thing, this is the seventh thing. This is gonna be, most people probably would say this is the most surprising thing on my list. But I think Captain America looks better with facial hair than the clean shaven look. Now, I get it. Me saying that it's basically saying I think Chris Evans looks better with facial hair than the clean shaven look, which honestly I would agree to my saying both. Like, when I think of Infinity War, like, how, Captain America, caught the spear that one of the, I think Thanos' group was the Black Order. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. When, the lady who was hunting, Vision for the Mind Stone, threw the spear at Captain America, who would reveal himself from the train. I just think, the facial hair looks Captain America look more interesting. Like, I just think that, like the clean shaven look, like, I just think it looks better. I guess it's just more so like, it just kind of shows you how serious the movie's going to be. Cause, like, Infinity War had the, full facial hair. That movie stuff went down. Don't get me wrong. Endgame was very serious too. Even he did not, because he eventually shaved in, like in that movie just some time before he shaved. But regardless, I think that was, I think him having facial in this movie is going to make it interesting. And I really liked how he, grabbed Mjolnir. I think, who the artistic vision behind the trailer right in that scene was just well done. And also in that movie when it comes out. And 8, I know that there are people who are going to be way better at breaking down a trailer than I am. So I'm sure that there's, like, literally, you could probably go on YouTube. I've seen a couple of TikToks already with people talking about the trailer, but I've kind of steered clear of them. But I personally, with the few times I've watched it, I didn't, like, I feel like they're doing a great job at keeping this movie under wraps, for me at least. Now, I get it. I'm also, like, steering clear of certain things, trying to not, be spoiled, which when that movie comes out toward the end of December, I am staying off of TikTok. I'm just letting you know that now, because literally, like, I will never forget this. When I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, I think I saw it maybe a week later. I saw it with my dad. And literally, not even within 20 minutes of us leaving the theater, I was seeing scenes of that movie on my TikTok For You page. And then another thing with the Spider-Man No Way Home, with all the Spider-Man actors. Like, even before I saw that movie, I'm getting scenes on my For You page. Like, I didn't go see that movie day one, but I kind of get the feeling for this movie, I will probably attempt to go see it. if not the day it comes out, early the next day, one or the other, whatever is in the cards for me at that point. Um, but yeah, no, I just know that the spoilers for this movie are going to be insane. Not even just on TikTok, but on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm gonna be, if I need to, I will put my phone to do not disturb when that movie comes out, because like I, I'm I'm not about getting that movie spoiled, because like I don't like giving spoilers for people. It just makes me feel all guilty and bad, and even for people who directly ask me for spoilers, I don't like doing it. It just makes me feel bad. And I get it. There's a difference between when someone asks for a spoiler versus uh like they don't, in which in this podcast I'm warning you of spoilers. So like if you're trying to say, Jaren, why do you feel guilty about giving spoilers when you're making a podcast review of like the trailer? I'm warning you of it. I literally gave a disclaimer in the beginning. So that's just how I tend to view it. Like if we were to have a one-on-one conversation afterwards and you were to ask me to give a spoiler on the Spider-Man movie that comes out in like 9 days, like let's say I see it before you, I'm not gonna spoil you. Like I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. So quit asking. um, step number nine. Well, not step number nine. Thing number nine on my list, which this is kind of my favorite thing, which is more of a question, and then I kind of have a prediction. So, in the trailer, Thor, with Stormbreaker, attacks Doctor Doom, but in the little glimpse that we saw, you don't really get, much more other than Doctor Doom stopping, Stormbreaker. So my thing is, Thor in the trailer already had a moment with Captain America like this can't be real. I'm curious if Thor or Captain America will break Doctor Doom's mask, and basically you'll see Tony Stark's face. That is what will be very, very interesting to me, at least. And then my last thing, which this is more so a theory I had seen online, and this theory I've been seeing ever since Robert Downey Jr. was confirmed as Doctor Doom. Um, Basically, people have kind of did a deep dive into some of the past Marvel movies about how like Doctor Doom and Tony Stark are truly connected, and essentially, when Tony Stark, Iron Man, what the same person, when Tony Stark, Captain America, and Ant Man were going after, I can't think of what stones they were going after. I just know they were in New York. There was a moment when when they had to pivot directions, and then essentially Tony Stark is in the elevator with his dad, but there were things that did not add up to Tony Stark in that moment. So the theory is kind of connected to that moment, and that's just all I know about the theory personally. Like it kind of goes a little bit deeper than what I'm talking about personally. And like I'll have to go back and kind of like recheck that theory, because like I might have messed it up a little bit. But I'm just curious how this movie is going to tie in that theory, if it even ties it in at all. Because theories are by like a dime a dozen. By that I mean like when you see them online, they're like, "Oh, this is extremely valid," or mainly like, "I don't think it's gonna hold much weight." But I'm more so just curious on how they're gonna tie it all in that exact, like basically I think there has to be some, like my prediction. There's, other than Robert Downey Jr. in my opinion still being the face of Marvel. There has to be like let's just say a plot reason for why they have like the same face. Like they could have gotten other people to play Doctor Doom. They got Robert Downey Jr. I think the movie has a great chance to do something that like most would not expect. Now, I have one closing thought to give before I end this episode, and this is what I would have done, even though that I know movies do not do this. I think it would have shocked fans everywhere if you had, which if you were able to keep this under wraps, you could have kept it on. If you could have, I would have done it. You know how insane theaters probably would have been if, like, yeah, you have Doctor Doom on the mask the entire time, you disguise Robert Downey Jr.'s voice, like, and then basically, let's just say if his mask gets broken, it's revealed that it's, Robert Downey Jr., aka Tony Stark's face. I think that would have been insane, but I understand how difficult that would be to basically hide Robert Downey Jr. when there are people who literally go to extreme lengths to probably find out that sort of information. So hey, that's pretty much all I have for this episode of the I Am Passionate podcast. Let me know your thoughts down on the trailer below if you've seen it, or let me know kind of your thoughts on what you've heard about, Avengers Doomsday down below. Thank you all for listening, and I'll catch you all in the next episode.